The scene opens on a hapless adolescent in a classroom, where his peers are diligently taking examinations. A message on the chalkboard reads, Senior High School Entrance Examination. This boy, Mo Fan, introduces himself and states that he is a ninth grade student. He laments that the senior high school entrance examination has nearly driven him insane, but clarifies that it isn't due to a lack of aptitude, but because the test subject is magic. Mo Fan is the first to exit the examination hall. The bell signals the end of the test, and students stream out of the school building. He muses that since he dozed off while wearing a necklace 3 months ago, everything in his life has undergone a transformation. Magic, he notes, is now the dominant topic of conversation. A group of boys walking behind him discuss him, surmising that his early submission of the exam paper indicates a lack of comprehension of the material. Mo Fan arrives at the school gate and pauses. His attention is drawn to one person in particular. He approaches an older gentleman, clad in a white shirt, who is pacing back and forth, and inquires about his presence. The man, his father, responds that he is there to collect Mo Fan. He questions Mo Fan about his performance on the exam, and Mo Fan inwardly reflects that his performance was disastrous. He claims that despite studying diligently for 3 months, the exam covered 9 years' worth of material and feels the situation was unfairly designed and that his hopes of passing are slim. His father reassures him, suggesting that he has found him a position as a driver in the neighboring city. He states that his uncle, Guang Feng, will provide training, and the remuneration will range from 4,000 to 5,000 per month. He advises Mo Fan that commencing work at a young age is not a disadvantage. Mo Fan expresses to his father his aspiration to pursue studies to become a maid. His father acknowledges his ambition, assuring him that he is aware of Mo Fan's aspirations that diverge from a career as a driver, and that his exam scores are unlikely to meet the admission criteria. Mo Fan emphasizes the seriousness of his intention. He thinks to himself that he refuses to be a failure, be it in the old world or the new, magical world. His father replies he will consider it if Mo Fan is truly serious about it. Mo Fan is elated, thanking his father and vowing to become a distinguished mage respected by all. His father chuckles, takes his son's hand, and leads him in the direction of their home. He walks alongside a younger boy, Xiao Hu, who informs him that a certain Mu Ningxu has returned from the capital. He elaborates that he observed her that morning and that she has grown even more beautiful. Mo Fan's response is indifferent, astonishing the younger boy. He questions Mo Fan's lack of reaction, to which Mo Fan retorts, querying how he is supposed to react. The younger boy inquires whether Mo Fan is excited, but Mo Fan remains silent. Mo Fan and Zhao Hu pass by the entrance to a grand estate. Mo Fan is intrigued by the sight of 2 men conversing near the gate. One of them is Mo Fan's father, pleading with the other man to leverage his influence to secure Mo Fan's admission to the Magic Academy. The man raises the matter of Mo Fan's transgression of attempting to run off with the Mu family heiress and demands justification for assisting him. His father concedes that it was Mo Fan's fault, but still begs for assistance in light of his loyal service to the Mu family. The man denies him assistance and reprimands Mo Fan's father. His father promises to do anything he can. The man says he will consider helping Mo Fan if his father pledges his house to him. He wants the land. Mo Fan's father pledges the house to the man. Mo Fan watches the discussion unfolding from outside the gate. That evening, at dinner, Mo Fan's father informs him that he has been accepted into the Magic Academy. Mo Fan's countenance darkens upon hearing the news. His father further mentions that he will be renting out their house, offering an explanation. Mo Fan brightens up, outlining his ambitious plans, eliciting laughter from his father. Later, Mo Fan writes Mu Ningxu's name in his notebook. He recalls the time when she approached him and requested that he elope with her. It earned his father a severe rebuke from her father, who also warned him to break Mo Fan's legs if he ever sees him with Mu Ningxu again. It is the first day at Sky Magic High School. The new students are greeted at the academy. They are apprehensive as it is also their Magic Awakening Day. The boys discuss the magical abilities they hope to possess. In Class 8 Grade 1, the teacher outlines the procedure for Magic Awakening. They each receive a badge, which will change color to correspond to their awakened magic. He explains that cyan signifies wind, red signifies fire, and gold signifies light. As soon as the teacher stops speaking, a boy's pendant starts to illuminate. When the teacher reaches Mo Fan's desk, he introduces himself. One of the boys starts to mock him about how he gained admission to the academy. Someone speaks in his defense. Just then, Mu Bai is summoned to awaken his magic. He places his hand on the crystal, and it emits a blue glow. He has the talent for ice. The teacher indicates that the stars displayed on the badges reflect the strength of their abilities. The students express awe at Mu Bai. The boys go up one by one to awaken their magic. Mo Fan steps forward and rests his hand on the crystal sphere. He finds himself transported to a realm filled with various colors. He believes that his light is glowing purple. His light glows red instead, but no one is paying attention as they are absorbed in the awakening of a thunder talent in the adjacent class. Everyone is excited about the emergence of the thunder talent. The boy who awakened it is named Xu Xiaoding. Someone remarks that scarcely 1 in 1,000 people can awaken the power of thunder. Mo Fan's instructor, who is among the spectators, comments that the thunder talent's teacher must be overjoyed to have such a gift in the class, as thunder is the most powerful element. Mo Fan's eyes open, only to discover that he is alone in the classroom, and he wonders if he has traveled through time once more. The orb beneath his hand is burning. He cries out that it is extremely hot, and he realizes that he has awakened the fire talent. He then remembers his time in the Stardust realm and believes he has awakened both fire and thunder powers. His classmates re-enter the classroom. They inquire as to why he is still standing with his hand on the crystal sphere. They begin to deride him, but then notice the orb glowing red. They are astonished that Mo Fan has unlocked the fire talent. His teacher approaches him and affirms that he has indeed awakened the fire talent. He informs Mo Fan of this, which comes as a surprise to Mo Fan. His classmates are puzzled, questioning how someone like Mo Fan could have awakened the fire talent. The boy seated in front of him congratulates him, noting that only 2 people in their class have unlocked the fire talent. Mu Bai is displeased by this development. Mo Fan is amused that his awakening of the fire talent has generated such excitement within the class and thinks about boasting to them that he is a genius who has unlocked both thunder and fire abilities despite the 1 in 1,000 odds. But he decides to keep it a secret. He reflects that if his classmates were to learn that he had previously unlocked thunder, their jaws would drop. He internally celebrates his triumph while maintaining a composed demeanor in front of his classmates. 2 months later, the class is receiving a lecture on Stardust in the audio-visual classroom. The teacher explains that Stardust will constitute their spiritual world after their talents have awakened. He continues that within the Stardust, there are 7 stars that revolve freely, and if they devote their attention to manipulating them with their minds and compelling their random movements to follow fixed orbits, then they will have successfully completed the magic release. He likens the process to playing dominoes. He cautions the students that should they lose control of even 1 star, they will have to begin the process anew. This implies that they must simultaneously connect the orbits of all 7 stars. The teacher calls Mu Bai forward to provide a demonstration. He successfully manages to control 5 of the stars, and his teacher expresses satisfaction. He compliments Mu Bai and points to the 5 illuminated stars on his badge. He clarifies that Mu Bai has been able to connect 5 stars simultaneously during practice. The teacher informs them that if they can connect all 7 stars at the same time, they will be able to summon the ice power of creeping ice. He instructs them to emulate Mu Bai's example and to exert effort. The students concur that Mu Bai is impressive, and they make comparisons to him. They discuss the difficulty of controlling stars. Their teacher reminds them that the difficulty is proportional to their talent and the effort they invest. He instructs them to engage their minds to manage each and every star. Just then, the bell rings, and they taunt Mo Fan for having only 1 star. His friend comes to his rescue, and some girls laugh at him and call him a loser. Mo Fan walks out of the room. On his way home, he walks past a girls' school. He heads towards Nanshan Temple, where he decides to practice. His aura manifests in purple, and he is unable to connect the final star. He leaves the temple and goes to a playground where he finds his sister, Xingxia, waiting on the swings. He calls out to her, and they exchange greetings. He scans the area and notices some unsavory individuals in the playground. They appear to be bullying Xingxia. Mo Fan makes his way toward them. The leader has seized her wheelchair and announces that he will return it when Xingxia agrees to be his girlfriend. The rough boys speak derisively about Xingxia. Mo Fan approaches them and shouts. They ask him if he thinks he is a match for 4 of them. They make fun of him, and the leader tells Mo Fan that his sister should be grateful that he is interested in her. They tell him to get lost, and he takes steps backwards to fight. He connects the 7 stars and gets the thunder power. He sends the thunder to them and electrocutes them all. They are scared because he is a mage, and they surrender to him. He tells them to get lost, and they do. His sister is stunned. He brings her wheelchair over to her, and she tells him that he is amazing. At Mu Bai's residence, his uncle inquires about his academic progress. He responds that he can control 5 stars. His uncle says that if he does well this time, he will find a way to get him the star bracelet. Mu Bai promises to work hard, and his father says that the final examination will be a perfect opportunity and that the heiress of the Mu family will be there, and he needs to impress her. The man asks about Mo Fan. Mu Bai says that Mo Fan is unable to control even a single star and is at the bottom of the class. They make a scheme to expel Mo Fan if he fails the exams because they believe he is unremarkable. Mu Bai praises his uncle. Mo Fan is in the bath when he recalls his aunt's warning. He thinks about the monsters surrounding the city and how dangerous it is for his father to work outside the city. Mo Fan deduces that mastering thunder magic will facilitate his mastery of fire magic. He attempts to connect the stars in his fire magic, but only manages to heat his bath water and burn himself. He leaps out of the bath and dresses. At that moment, his sister arrives to inform him that their aunt has prepared cakes. She notices that his skin is very red, and he attributes it to the excessively hot bath water. Xingxia tells him that she never expected him to master the Wrath of Thunder so quickly. She wonders how he accomplished it in under 6 months and questions if he sought out the Black Curia. He has no knowledge of what that is, and she clarifies that it is a cult that assists individuals in mastering their talents with ease. He assures her that he awakened his thunder first. He practices in secret and that nobody is aware of it. He pushes Xingxia's wheelchair back to her room and contemplates her inquiry. He reasons that since he can only publicly display fire, thunder will serve as his hidden ace. He resolves to practice fire for his examination. Mo Fan enters a classroom and is surprised to see that most of the seats are already occupied. He turns around and comes face to face with the captivating woman. His jaw drops open, and she directs him to find a seat. She introduces herself as Tang Yue, their new instructor for practical magic. She asks the students how many have awakened fire. They rise to their feet. Mo Fan's classmates mock him. Tang Yue sends a fireball at the target dummy and incinerates it. She explains that the spell she cast is a level 1 fire magic spell called Fire Burst, and it ranks among the most potent spells in elemental magic. The students are astonished, and Mo Fan is thrilled. Mu Bai and his uncle are near a pool in a luxury compound. Mu Bai asks his uncle if he intends to force Mo Fan to quit. He tells his uncle that he does not think that Mo Fan is incompetent. He argues that he believed only those who scored a D on the final exams were eligible to be expelled. His uncle replies he has a plan. He reveals a black pill from his suit pocket and displays it to Mu Bai. Mu Bai inquires about its purpose, and he reveals that it is a dark stone that has the ability to absorb magical energy and the light from the crystal ball. He assures him that the stone is certain to cause Mo Fan to perform poorly on the exam and score worse than a D. Mu Bai inquires if the stone will have an effect on everyone, considering they will be utilizing the same crystal ball. His uncle claims that this will not occur, as the examiner is under his influence and will verify the crystal ball prior to each student's test, applying the stone only during Mo Fan's turn and removing it before the next student's evaluation. Mu Bai thinks his uncle is clever. His uncle states that Mo Fan offended the Mu family and they cannot allow him to go unpunished. They both laugh in an evil way. Mo Fan is in the practical magic room and is trying to control the stars with his fire magic. He is only able to manage 5 stars, which burn out quickly, and he is sad because the end-of-year exam is less than a month away. He is lying back on the practice room floor. He considers that if he is able to harness the full potential of his fire abilities, he will be able to impress the Mu family. He stands up and attempts again, but finds his magical energy has been used up. He thinks his powers are not strong enough, and he sits to meditate. He tries again to connect the stars and connects 5. The next day, the teacher talks about the crystal ball. He says it is a magic stone that measures magical power. He indicates that the more brilliantly the stone shines, the more potent the person's inherent abilities. The grading system, he details, hinges on this luminosity, within a representing peak performance and a D signaling deficiency. He then issues a reminder that students receiving a D will face expulsion from the academy. Mu Bai inquires about the potential for a magic release assessment. The instructor responds that participation isn't mandated. However, he notes that any student demonstrating proficiency in magic release will earn a promotion to the elite echelon, signified by a star emblazoned wristband. Mu Bai mutters to himself, that star bracelet is destined to be mine. At last, the day of the final exam arrives. The student body assembles in the courtyard, awaiting the commencement of evaluations. Mo Fan is situated at the tail end of the queue, rendering him the concluding participant in the assessment. The principal then takes his place atop the stage alongside Mr. Mu, Professor Mu, and Mu Ningzhu. Ningzhu betrays her disinterest in the proceedings, maintaining a stoic expression. The principal initiates a speech, introducing Professor Mu and Mu Ningzhu as distinguished guests. Professor Mu delivers remarks, expressing his enthusiasm about encountering the up-and-coming generation of mages. A young man makes a comment about Ningzhu's captivating appearance, sparking a discourse regarding her inherent talents and aristocratic lineage. Mu Bai, wearing a smirk, hatches schemes against Mo Fan. His intent is to humiliate Mo Fan in Ningzhu's presence, compelling him to withdraw from the school. The principal conveys his gratitude to Professor Mu for his address, and then requests Ningzhu to demonstrate her magical abilities. She interacts with the crystal ball, subjecting it to intense freezing, ultimately causing it to shatter. Mo Fan wonders to himself about her recent surge in power. Following her demonstration, the evaluations commence, with the first student being summoned to the platform. Nerves are evident among the student body as the examination progresses. Mr. Zhu offers encouragement to a student apprehensive about receiving a D and facing expulsion. Upon her name being announced, she interfaces with the crystal ball, which then emits a radiant glow. The student is awarded an A on the assessment. Zhao Hua approaches the platform for his assessment, similarly securing a grade. He conveys his desire to attempt magic release to his instructor, who grants his approval. Zhao Hua exerts considerable effort, yet fails to direct his magic to the designated target. He descends from the platform visibly disheartened, with Tang Yue offering solace. He then blushes and pledges enhanced efforts in the future. Mu Bai steps up for his evaluation. He excels without difficulty, earning an S grade. His acquaintances boast about his accomplishments, and he subsequently requests the chance to showcase his magic release skills. He aligns his star patterns, achieves the effect of creeping ice, and is awarded a B for his magic release. A wave of admiration ripples through the crowd, and Professor Mu consults Ningzhu and her father about their impressions of Mu Bai. Ningzhu gives the assessment. He's alright. This assessment displeases Professor Mu. Mo Fan's name is announced. Professor Mu suggests to Ningzhu that she should return home, but she declines, opting to witness Mo Fan's assessment. Professor Mu discreetly signals an accomplice, who then proceeds to place a specialized stone beneath the crystal ball. Mo Fan makes contact with the crystal ball, and the stone absorbs his magic, causing alarm for both him and his instructor, who believe his magic may be flawed. His peers subject him to taunts and ridicule, with the general consensus being that he is lacking in power. Professor Mu pronounces his prospects as bleak, declaring that he can never achieve mage status with such feeble light. Mo Fan attempts the assessment again. The stone shatters, and he is awarded a B grade. The result provokes bewilderment among the observers, including Mu Bai. Tang Yue grows suspicious of the circumstances surrounding Mo Fan's evaluation. She advocates for him, demanding a re-evaluation. Efforts are made to dissuade her, accompanied by the warning that she will be held accountable if the re-evaluation yields unfavorable results. She agrees to accept responsibility should any issues arise during the retest. Ningzhu concurs with Tang Yue's assessment and also appeals for a retest. Her request is heeded, and a replacement crystal ball is provided. Mo Fan undergoes the test a second time, attaining an S grade, causing shock among the audience. Zhao Hua is overjoyed by Mo Fan's grade. Tang Yue commends Mo Fan, and he expresses his desire to attempt magic release. Mu Bai is disgruntled by Mo Fan's triumph. Mo Fan's magic release proves to be extraordinary. His magic discharge incinerates the target, earning him a grade. The outcome sparks considerable discussion, with observers noting that no other participant managed to achieve an A in magic release. Zhao Hua is thrilled and declares Mo Fan the best. The principal inquires of the Mu brothers if Mo Fan had ever been affiliated with their family. They clarify that he was merely the son of their former driver. The principal praises Mo Fan's dedication to cultivating his skills, citing his high grades as evidence of his potential, achieved independently of familial support. Mr. Mu summons Mo Fan, expressing that his performance has altered his perspective. He proposes that Mo Fan disregard past events, offering him fire magic gear from the Mu family to aid in refining his abilities. He extends an invitation to join the Mu family. Professor Mu inquires about Mu Bai, and Mr. Mu advises him to encourage Mu Bai to exert greater effort. Mo Fan vehemently rejects Mr. Mu's proposal, prompting an outburst from Mr. Mu. The principal directs Mo Fan to apologize to Mr. Mu, but Mo Fan instead informs the principal of Mr. Mu's gang breaking into his family house and injuring his father for no reason. He demands an apology from Mr. Mu. Mo Fan is reprimanded by Mr. Mu, While Professor Mu implores the authorities to expel Mo Fan, the principal asserts that only he can authorize the expulsion of a student. Mu Bai declares that if Mo Fan refuses to apologize, he will engage him in combat to instill respect for his elders. Mr. Mu then proposes Yu Ang as his proxy for the duel. The principal attempts to convince Mo Fan to apologize, but Mo Fan insists that Mr. Mu should first apologize to his father. He proposes that he will apologize if he loses the duel. But if Mr. Mu loses, he must apologize to his father. Tang Yue points out that the Mage Association prohibits dueling among underage mages, and that any potential duel should be postponed for 2 years. Mr. Mu consents to the duel in 2 years, and instructs Ningzhu to follow him. She offers Mo Fan a subtle smile before departing. Zhao Hua informs Mo Fan that Yu Ang is more powerful than Mu Bai. Mo Fan confidently states that he will handle him. He then resolves to intensify his efforts. Mo Fan's father drives a truck, and Mo Fan vows to restore his dignity. It is September, marking the commencement of a fresh semester at Sky Magic High School. The elite class is instructed by both Zui Mo Sheng and Tang Yue. They extend a welcome to the incoming students. Student numbers are assigned based on grades, with Mo Fan claiming the top spot, followed by Mu Bai in second place, and Zhu Jiaoting in third. Tang Yue addresses the class, captivating the attention of all the male students with her beauty. She announces that she will be teaching the practical magic class, and solicits their cooperation. The topic of the star bracelet is raised. Mu Sheng clarifies that access to the bracelet will be granted in accordance with grades. He stipulates that the top 3 students will each be permitted to use it for a month. Furthermore, he informs Mo Fan that his punishment for openly insulting Mr. Mu is that he will only have access to the bracelet for 10 days, after which it will be passed on to the next eligible student. He clarifies that the class only possesses 3 bracelets to circulate. Concerns are voiced regarding the exclusion of students with lower grades from accessing the bracelet. The usage guidelines are laid out, with penalties including expulsion and banishment for damage or late return of the bracelet. Mo Fan contemplates the implications of the star bracelet. He commits himself to rigorous target practice, as does Mu Bai, who plots to ascend to the top of the class rankings by leveraging the star bracelet. Mo Fan initiates a confrontation with Mu Bai, gathering insights into Yu Ang in the star bracelet. Mu Bai reveals that only Mu Ningzhu has been granted a star spirit bracelet for practice. The spirit bracelet, he clarifies, provides a 40% acceleration in progress, surpassing the star bracelet's 20% boost. Mo Fan departs from Mu Bai and considers the prospect of mastering level to fire burst. He sits and handles the star bracelet when his pendant is magnetized to the bracelet. He puts it on and his pendant swallows the bracelet. Tang Yue interrupts and questions his actions. He asks her what she is doing there, and she goes right to the heart of the matter. She tells him that he has lost the star bracelet and they will kick him out. She implores him to be candid so that she can assist him. He discloses that his pendant consumed the bracelet. She retrieves the bracelet and inquires about its origin. He identifies it as a family heirloom. She asks if he has shown it to anyone, and he says no. She explains that his pendant also constitutes magical gear, and that it requires nourishment. She explains that it has the capacity to absorb energy and evolve to the spirit level. Mo Fan realizes why his magical advancement is accelerating. He suggests that she retain it, but she insists that he must conceal it. She warns him that the pendant will develop at the expense of magical gear and spirits. She reassures him that she will resolve the issue of the missing bracelet, and that he owes her a favor. Mo Fan interprets her assistance as an expression of romantic interest. He interacts with the pendant, expressing gratitude and kissing it. The students embark on a field excursion to the Snowy Peak outpost, marking the boundary of the safe zone. Beyond lies territory teeming with monsters. They view an informative video about the outpost. The students speculate about the creatures, but Mo Fan is preoccupied with thoughts of his fire stardust. The students get to the outpost and are greeted by their instructor. The students are expected to engage in a bounty hunt to earn a grade. The teachers lobby for a more lenient assignment, but the instructor stands firm. He challenges the students and scolds them for getting cold feet. The incentive for completing the task is magic armor. The students are taken aback by the reward. The students advance toward a rock formation. They observe that they are at an elevation, and they choose Zhao Hua to scout for them. He uses his wind talent to jump down the cliff, and helps them tie their rope to a tree. A student walks through what looks like harmless vines, and the vines restrain him. Mu Bai then uses his ice magic to freeze the vines, and he breaks through. The rest of the class does the same. They get to another wall of vines, and a girl with fire magic burns them down. Mo Fan leads a group and Mu Bai's friend taunts him. They reach a cavern, rumored to be the domain of one-eyed wolf demons. Their mission entails inspecting the cavern for demonic presence and recovering their instructor's mislaid bracelet. The mission's unusual nature leaves them puzzled, while some students express fear. United, they resolve to confront the demons, citing their numerical advantage. The instructors and teachers are given a report from an officer on the students' progression. The teachers are relieved that he sent someone with them. They ask him if there is a demon in the cave, and he says that there is something in the cave. Tang Yue notes that the students have been afforded a valuable learning opportunity. She questions the true nature of the cavern's inhabitant, and the instructor responds that the students must gain an understanding of the responsibilities of being a mage. He asserts his awareness of the situation. Tang Yue voices her concerns about Mo Fan's ability to unleash magic when faced with peril. The students rappel down a cliff. One female student asks the other if she is not scared. Zhao Min says that they will all fail unless they accomplish the task, and if they fail, they won't be able to get into a good magic college. Mo Fan mocks the quality of her motivational speech, and Mu Bai's friend says that Mu Bai will freeze the monster with his creeping eyes. He tells them to follow Mu Bai's lead. They are encouraged and follow Mu Bai. Mu Bai's friend decides to delegate tasks based on individual magical talents. He instructs those with wind-based skills to perform scouting duties, and those with light-based abilities to provide illumination for the mission. They descend into the cavern in a single file. Mo Fan lingers, scrutinizing the pond situated near the cavern. Zhao Hua approaches, inquiring if he is searching for aquatic life. He tells Zhao Hua to look at the water in the pond. He explains to him that the pond should have been filled with water because of the rain, but it is only half full. Zhao Hua thinks the water evaporates because of the weather. Mo Fan indicates that the water line is clearly visible, yet half the pond's water has vanished. His implication is that some entity within the cavern has consumed the water, suggesting a substantial size. Zhao Hua gets scared and goes to warn the others. They do not believe him and make fun of him. They tell him to stay outside the cave if he is too scared, and that he will still get to pass the test if the others finish it for him. The students walk through the cave and find a wolf demon. They all panic and run away because of its size. Mu Bai attempts to subdue the demon, but his magic wanes, and he flees. Zhao Min tries to strike the demon, but before she can do so, Mo Fan scoops her away. The instructor laughs at the students. One of them admits that the wild in the cave is his pet. The head instructor says that a one-eyed wolf demon is fiercer than his pet. He says that if the students had met a real monster, they would have all died. The head instructor says that he didn't expect them to beat the arch-wolf. He just hoped that would release some magic at the very least. The teachers like the idea of testing the students using a pet. They say it offers a real experience without putting the students in danger. The instructor says that since it seems that none of the students are up to the task, the head instructor can hang on to his magic armor. They see light flashing from the cave and the teacher says it must be Mu Bai. The head instructor agrees and says that he is gifted. The archwolf confronts Mu Bai and he stands his ground. He transforms into armor and tries to use his creeping ice. As the students evacuate the cavern, they discover that their rope has been severed. Mo Fan guides Zhao Min out, but she rushes back into the cavern. She focuses her fire magic and directs a fiery blast at the archwolf. It explodes near his feet and it pounces on Zhao Min. Zhu Zhaoting pushes her out of harm's way and unleashes his thunder magic. The strike lands on the beast, eliciting a roar of pain. Mu Bai attempts to unleash his magic. The wolf attacked, and he went down. The students grew even more frightened. Realizing that simple level 1 magic wouldn't affect the wolf, Mo Fan decided to intensify his attack. He unleashed a fire burst upon the creature. Engulfed in flames, the beast flew from the cave and splashed into the pond. The teacher analyzed the magic, offering his assessment. Yui commented that the cremation magic could reduce bones to ash, and the archwolf must have suffered considerable harm. The head instructor looked impressed and instructed Bai Yang to call off his wolf. Bai Yang tried, but reported that the wolf wasn't responding to his commands. Alarmed, the teachers feared for the students' safety. The instructors unfurled their wings, readying themselves to fly down to protect the students. Emerging from the water, teeth bared, the archwolf prepared to strike. Xiao Yu intervened, saving the girl from becoming the wolf's meal, and she thanked him repeatedly. Outside the cave, the students huddled in terror. Xiao Yu diverted the wolf by running past it. The wolf chose to pursue him, locating Mo Fan. Spotting him, the wolf attacked with a blast of air. He understood that their lives were in danger if the wolf persisted. The strongest among the students had been unable to subdue the creature. Xiao Yu rescued Mo Fan, carrying him further into the cave's depths. Witnessing the wolf chase after Xiao Yu and Mo Fan, the students decided to flee. Zhou Min suggested going after them. Just then, the head instructor descended on his wings, inquiring about the wolf's location. Zhou Min told him the wolf had followed Mo Fan and Xiao Yu into the cave system. Tang Yue explained that they had lured the wolf deeper to keep everyone else safe. The wolf pursued the two boys through the cave, eventually cornering them at a pond. It seemed to be a dead end, and the wolf lunged upon seeing them. It blasted them with hot air, hitting Xiao Yu. Angered, Mo Fan unleashed his lightning magic on the wolf. It only slowed the beast slightly. Mo Fan then activated his fire magic, causing a stalactite to fall and impale the wolf. The wolf collapsed and died. A glowing orb emerged from the wolf, and Mo Fan's pendant absorbed it. He rushed to Xiao Yu, who was bleeding from a wound on his head. At that moment, the head instructor arrived on his wings, seeing the dead archwolf. He expressed surprise that they had managed to kill it. He questioned if Mo Fan's fire magic could have been responsible. Mo Fan explained that he had brought down the stalactite to kill the wolf. The head instructor sighed, admitting he had feared the worst. He added that he would have never believed a student could take down a beast as powerful as the one-eyed wolf demon. Mo Fan insisted that they needed to get Xiao Yu to safety due to his injuries. The man asked him to explain how he'd done it, but Mo Fan repeated his request that Xiao Yu be helped first. The head instructor carried Xiao Yu outside to the others. The teacher inquired about the archwolf, and he confirmed that it was dead. The archwolf's owner refused to believe it and rushed to see for himself. He became enraged and blamed the head instructor, who replied that the wolf was already dead when he arrived. Jiating wondered how Mo Fan and Xiao Yu had survived if he hadn't killed the wolf. The head instructor asserted that they were the ones who had done it, with Mo Fan delivering the final blow. A wave of disbelief swept through the crowd. Tang Yue asked Mo Fan directly if he had killed the wolf. Mo Fan recounted the events, adding that he hadn't realized it was just a test. Tang Yue clarified that it was intended to be a test, but the archwolf had gotten out of hand and attempted to kill them. She commended him for drawing the wolf away and protecting the other students. The head instructor praised Mo Fan for eliminating the wolf and saving everyone. Bai Yang was heartbroken over the loss of his pet. The students were thrilled and lauded Mo Fan. Tang Yue instructed them to thank Mo Fan for preventing further casualties. She emphasized that if the archwolf had intended to kill them all from the start, those who couldn't use magic would surely have perished. She warned them that the monsters they would face in the future were bloodthirsty and showed no mercy. The head instructor expressed his dissatisfaction with their overall performance, noting that only a few had actively fought the wolf. He mentioned Ma Bai, Jiating, Zhou Min, and Xiao Yu. He said that they had performed well but would only receive an A. He awarded Mo Fan an S grade. Another instructor reminded him of his promise of magical armor. He agreed that Mo Fan had earned the armor. Tang Yue announced that all the students would receive an A, since the task had been successfully completed. The students celebrated, lifting Mo Fan onto their shoulders. Outside the cave, the students watched as the head instructor presented Mo Fan with a plaque for completing the challenge. He invited Mo Fan to join them after he graduated. Mo Fan hesitated, requesting his armor instead. The head instructor pondered Mo Fan's actions, recalling how he'd defeated the archwolf. He remembered the scorched ground beneath the wolf. He returned to the site to investigate and received a report that bone wolf demons had been sighted to the west. He ordered his men to arm themselves and hunt down and eliminate the wolves. Mo Fan sat on the rooftop. He thought aloud, observing that Zhou Min's fire seed burned, but even if it struck a spirit wolf, it would only singe the fur. He believed that second-level magic was required to truly harm monsters. He wondered what it would take to cultivate Lei Yin to that level, noting that Lei was the strongest element. He hoped to improve his lightning powers just as he had in the fire department. Above all, he longed to get stronger. He relived his fight with the spirit wolf, concluding that his current magic might not be enough to kill a spirit wolf. He hoped the spiritual stardust magic weapon would increase his cultivation speed by 40%. He continued to contemplate ways to enhance his abilities, remembering all the teachings of teacher Tang Yue. The notice board advertised recruitment for the city hunting team, a group of hunter mages tasked with tracking down a ferocious wolf. A substantial reward was offered, with a warning to rookies about the dangers involved. Mo Fan, despite being a young hunter, was eager to join. He found a long line of others who were also seeking to enroll. Mo Fan considered how he could find a faster path to joining the city hunting team. The man Mo Fan was talking to by the announcement board mentioned that the fire department was the most popular choice. Mo Fan asked about the lightning department, and the man informed him that lightning mages were rare, while mages in other departments numbered in the thousands. Mo Fan asked if the city hunting team ever took people who had thunder, and the man responded by saying that if a person possessed the thunder element, their experience level was irrelevant. Every team would be interested. Hearing this, Mo Fan turned and headed toward the end of the long line of people. Inside the hunting team's office, stacks of applications cluttered the table. The captain of the hunting team was frustrated by the number of unsuitable applications he had received. He exclaimed that he only saw applications from inexperienced and unskilled mages. He argued with his subordinate, emphasizing that he wanted an elite mage with exceptional experience, strength, adaptability, and mental fortitude. His subordinate replied that such individuals were hard to find. Finally, it was Mo Fan's turn in the queue. He stepped forward to face the interviewers. He introduced himself as Fan Mao, hoping to conceal his true identity. The interviewer informed Fan Mo that generally only intermediate hunters were eligible to apply. She pointed out that he hadn't even obtained his hunter qualification certificate. Fan Mo responded that he had heard they were recruiting lightning mages, and they confirmed that was correct. They realized he wasn't even a junior hunter. He stated that he possessed the thunder element. They were surprised, and he then added that he belonged to the Ray family. Suspicious, they asked him to prove it. He extended his hand, and lightning crackled from his fingertips. They were all taken aback. The people in the queue buzzed with amazement, whispering amongst themselves. The interviewers asked him to wait while they consulted with the captain about Fan Mo. The captain flung open the door, came out, and announced that Fan Mo was now a member of the Bo City monster hunting team. The captain then informed the remaining applicants that they had found what they were looking for, and the interviews were over. They could all leave. The captain introduced Fan Mo to the rest of the team, presenting Kai Tang as an ice mage. He realized that Kai Tang was also the vice captain and Menning Shu's cousin. She told him that even though he possessed the thunder element, he should try not to be a burden, as they only wanted elite members on their team. The captain then introduced another member, Xiao Ka, who was a water mage. Someone entered the room and whispered something to the captain. Kai Tang asked if it was another monster. The captain announced to the team that there had been an attack at Inscription Girls' School. The school Mo Fan's sister, Xin Xia, attended, and such incidents were unusual. The captain told Fan Mo to go home, promising to hold his joining party at another time, as an emergency had arisen at Inscription Girls' School. Fan Mo insisted on accompanying them, since he was now a member of the team. They agreed to let him join them, and they all left the room together. In the car, as the hunting team drove towards the school, they engaged in casual conversation. Fan Mo tried to call Xin Xia to check on her, but she didn't answer. He tried several more times, but she still didn't respond. He grew worried for her and hoped she was safe. Arriving at the school, the captain gave the team their assignments, aiming to cover the vast area of the school as quickly as possible. He directed Fan Mo to go to the cafeteria, and they all dispersed to search the school. As Mo Fan searched the cafeteria, Xin Xia called him, explaining that the school had been evacuated due to an emergency. She said she had left her phone in the dormitory, so she was calling from a public phone. Xin Xia assured him that she was fine, but she sensed something was amiss in the school. She mentioned that on her way back to the dormitory, she had passed a female classmate who continued on to another area. She regretted not stopping her and warning her. Mo Fan told her that she should prioritize her own safety. He then asked her where the girl had gone. She answered that she had gone to the old canteen. Immediately, he heard a sound behind him. He turned to investigate and found a one-eyed orangutan. While he was still on the call, the one-eyed orangutan fired at him from its eye. Mo Fan dodged, landing on the floor as the laser struck the window, shattering it. The one-eyed orangutan continued to chase him around the cafeteria. He attempted to fight back, but without success. The other team members heard the commotion coming from the cafeteria. They realized that Fan Mo must have located the creature they were searching for, and they rushed towards the cafeteria to assist him. Exhausted, Fan Mo lay on the floor. The monster fired at him again, but this time, Xiao Ka used her water magic to create a shield, protecting him from the laser. The rest of the team entered the cafeteria and joined forces to fight the one-eyed orangutan. Yuan rhetorically questioned the orangutan if it thought it could harm someone with that little skill such as Fan Mo. The orangutan persisted in firing lasers from its eye. The captain retaliated, striking the monster. The one-eyed orangutan dodged and fled. Their efforts continued until the captain finally unleashed the third-level fire seed. The fire seed exploded, striking the orangutan. The orangutan fell to the ground, defeated. They started to celebrate their triumph, congratulating each other. Unbeknownst to them, the monster they believed to be dead suddenly rose and attacked Kai Tang. Mo Fan swiftly intervened, using his Lei Yin Python mark to strike the orangutan, finally destroying the creature. The captain admonished Xiao Ka, reminding her that as a water mage, her primary responsibility was to protect every member of the team, ensuring everyone's well-being. The captain then announced to Mo Fan that he was being promoted to a full member of the team due to his courage in saving Kai Tang from the one-eyed orangutan. As they prepared to leave, a yellow, circular orb rose from the monster's body and entered Mo Fan's amulet, unseen by the other team members. Bei Shore informed the captain that they had yet to locate the missing girl. He added that there was a hole in the back of the cafeteria's kitchen, a deep hole with numerous footprints of giant-eyed orangutans. The captain surmised that the other giant-eyed gorilla had dragged the girl into the cave. Kai Teng concluded that she must be in grave danger. Yuan suggested venturing down into the cave, but the captain instead instructed them to notify the Magic Association, informing them that the situation was beyond their control. Xiao Se questioned why so many giant-eyed orangutans were appearing at the same time. As they entered their vehicle and began to drive back, they received confirmation from the Magic Association that they were taking over the investigation and expected to have news soon. The captain confessed that he hadn't expected Fan Mo to react so quickly. He had assumed that Fan Mo would be one of those newly graduated mages whose legs would buckle at the sight of a monster. Yuan added that he had thought it would take Fan Mo at least half a year to develop the courage, but he was impressed by Fan Mo's strong mental fortitude. They continued to chat idly as they drove back home. As Mo Fan walked home, he spotted Shinxia by the phone booth. He approached her and embraced her. She explained that she had tried to call him back, but he hadn't answered. He reassured her that he was a mage now, and she shouldn't worry about him. He told her to protect herself, as he wouldn't always be there to watch over her. He proceeded to recount his experience at the school, describing how he dodged all of the orangutan's attacks and finally defeated the monster. Back at the office, the captain announced that their payment had arrived and that Mo Fan would be compensated as a full member. He offered his gratitude to the whole team for the recognition. A figure entered the swimming pool. As he moved, his gaze lingered lecherously on a young woman sunbathing nearby. The water began to ice over, and he immediately told Yuang that the master required his presence. Yuang emerged from the pool, and the man informed him that his ice stardust was progressively strengthening. Yuang remarked that his progress was slow, estimating a year or two to reach the next stage. He further commented that he didn't measure up to Ning Zhu. The man cautioned him against comparing himself to Ning Zhu, assuring him that as long as he managed Mo Fan, his father would present him with a substantial reward. Yuang met his father inside the residence and questioned the rationale behind pitting him against Mo Fan. His father explained that it promised to be amusing and engaging. Rather than inviting a host of wealthy and elite individuals, they intended to inject some excitement into the event. His father asserted that Mo Fan was no match, and that observing the contest would be entertaining. He instructed Yuang to capitalize on the duel to demonstrate to the school and other prominent families that he was the optimal choice for the Holy Spring, noting that only one individual from both cities would be selected for training there. Elsewhere, several men discussed the impending duel. They mentioned that Yuang needed to exercise caution, as a victory for Mo Fan would secure his selection for the Holy Spring. The man at the pool dismissed this as improbable, confident that Yuang would triumph over Mo Fan. In the opening scene, a potent bluish light radiated from the ground, reaching towards the sky. A one-eyed wolf awakened from its slumber, appearing ferocious and particularly menacing. Mo Fan and his companion chatted after class. His friend pointed out that Zhou Min had been showing him increased attention recently, suggesting a possible romantic interest. He announced her arrival and then departed. As Zhou Min approached Mo Fan, she inquired if he was free that evening. Mo Fan speculated that her interest stemmed from his rescuing her during training. He confirmed his availability. She was pleased and mentioned that she would be waiting behind the school that evening. Behind the school building, Mo Fan wondered about the choice of location. He mused that first dates typically took place in a cozy hotel, expressing his surprise that Zhou Min favored such places. Zhou Min informed Mo Fan about the tremors, explaining that the construction crew had long abandoned the site due to funding issues. She said her grandmother lived nearby, and every night the construction site emitted a strange vibrating noise. She added that some people had witnessed unsettling occurrences in the area. She'd urged her grandma to relocate, but her grandma refused since she has lived there for many years. Concerned for her grandmother's safety, she implored Mo Fan to accompany her to investigate the construction site, citing his reputation as the school's strongest mage. Mo Fan was surprised that this was the true reason for the meeting, and not a romantic date. He agreed and proceeded, scaling a wall and entering the building through a window. Jo Min forced open the door to the ground floor and followed him inside. Mo Fan inquired about the usual start time of the vibrations. He produced monster-repelling powder and began sprinkling it on the floor. She questioned him about the source of the hunting powder. She continued to quiz him on his knowledge of its use, noting that she had heard it was exclusive to hunter mages. She inquired about the existence of monsters in the city. He confirmed their existence, explaining that they necessitated the presence of the urban demon hunting team. He noticed monster tracks on the ground. Almost instantly, the one-eyed magic wolf appeared some distance away, devouring something on the ground. Jo Min urged Mo Fan to leave. Mo Fan stated that a large group of unhoused individuals resided there and were not counted into the statistical population, so the wolf fed off them. He asked if the wolf resembled the image provided by their teacher. Jo Min pleaded that they leave due to the frightening atmosphere. He instructed her to retrieve her grandmother and to contact the police to cordon off the area once she was a safe distance away. During their conversation, she called the police. The wolf spotted them and immediately gave chase. Mo Fan carried Jo Min and started to run. He sarcastically asked her if the teacher taught that monsters were keenly aware of various communication devices. He told her that she had essentially provided the wolf with a satellite fix. They continued to flee, with the wolf pursuing them relentlessly. They found a hiding spot. He urged her to prioritize finding her grandmother and instructed the people on the street to evacuate. She questioned his hesitation, and he responded that he had a strategy and that she should leave. They saw the wolf above them, and as the wolf descended upon them, he pushed her aside. She got to her feet and ran off, leaving Mo Fan to confront the wolf. He and the wolf faced each other. He employed Guri's power on the wolf, but it had no effect. He fell to the ground. Jo Min was out on the street. She had found her grandmother, and they were among a group of other people. The city hunters, Kai Teng and Yuang, arrived on motorbikes and asked her about her classmate. She informed them that a demon was inside the building and that her classmate, Mo Fan, was still inside. Kai Teng asked about the location, and Jo Min indicated the abandoned street ahead. She sprinted towards the abandoned street alongside Yuang. Mo Fan lay on the ground as the one-eyed wolf stared down at him. Just as the wolf was about to strike Mo Fan, Kai Teng and Yuang intervened, unleashing their elements on the wolf. They encased the wolf's legs in ice, trapping it. Kai Teng examined Mo Fan's face and recognized him. She recalled a past incident where he had been staring at her through her window. She yelled at Mo Fan to stop gawking and to escape before the one-eyed magic wolf devoured him. He swiftly stood up and ran. Yuang asked if she knew Mo Fan. She responded affirmatively, identifying him as Mo Fan, the unruly boy reprimanded by Uncle Mu Joyong. Yuang remarked on his exceptional speed, questioning how he could be the top student at Tian Tian High School. He speculated that the rumors about him defeating the spirit wolf at that time were fabricated, given his current state of fear. Kai Tang told Yuang to stop taunting Mo Fan and assist her in subduing the wolf. She explained that the wolf was stronger than a typical one-eyed magic wolf. Yuang launched ice tendrils in an attempt to control the wolf. Kai Tang contacted the captain, reporting that this was an advanced one-eyed wolf, likely connected to the Holy Springs energy overflow, and that it would be extremely challenging to subdue. He arrived at the scene, and they inquired about his tardiness. The captain urged them to concentrate, emphasizing the wolf's deadly nature. They asked Mo Fan to use his abilities to paralyze the wolf. Mo Fan approached and struck the wolf with thunder, but it had no effect. The captain informed them that he had requested reinforcements from the Magicians Association and that Yang Zuhi was en route. He urged them to continue suppressing the wolf until assistance arrived. The wolf broke free, and Kai Tang advised Yuang to release another wave of ice tendrils. As the wolf moved toward the warlord level, Yuang recommended an immediate retreat. The captain told them not to panic and that they should eliminate it before its transformation was complete. He went on to say that once it became a bone spur wolf, the streets behind them would run red with blood. He instructed Fei Shuo to prepare ground waves to slow it down in case the ice tendrils failed. The wolf continued to evolve. The blood on its body boiled, and the ice tendrils threatened to break. The captain unleashed a fire burst, consuming the wolf. They expressed their gratitude to the captain, and they reminded themselves that the captain had saved them once again. Yet again, just when they thought they had defeated the wolf, it resurfaced and attempted to attack. The captain used Huozi's burning bones on the wolf, but the wolf appeared unstoppable. They persisted in their efforts, devising new strategies to combat the wolf, but all proved unsuccessful. When Fan Mo witnessed the captain being struck, and knowing he was near death, he eventually used the Lei Yin Kuang Che to strike the wolf with his lightning, confining it within an enclosed space. The team realized that the wolf was vulnerable to thunder. Kai Teng urged Fan Mo to revert it to its original form, as she could see it transforming. Fei Shuo and Zhao Qi supported the captain's arm and led him away. Soon enough, the wolf appeared to adapt to the lightning strike. The wolf gradually emerged from its confinement. The team shouted at Fan Mo to run, warning him that the one-eyed magic wolf was too powerful. Fan Mo stood firm, declaring to the beast, "Let's see who falls first." Yue told the team to retreat while Mo Fan held the line. The captain declared that continuing the fight would result in the deaths of a few of them, but if they retreated, hundreds of people in the city would perish. The captain said that as the core of the urban monster hunting team, their awareness was not as good as a rookie. He assured Fan Mo that he was doing well. He got up, joined Fan Mo, and attacked the wolf. Kai Teng said the wolf had to be eliminated, lest the city's hunting team lose face. As the captain and Fan Mo used their powers to attack the wolf, Kai Teng also joined in, and soon, every team member joined. Yang Zuhi arrived at the scene, commending Fan Mo on his performance and instructing him to leave the rest to him. He advanced towards the wolf and used a wind disc to battle it relentlessly until he destroyed and killed it. As he departed, a similar yellow circular orb emerged from the wolf and entered Mo Fan. Mo Fan approached Yang Zuhi and inquired about the storm before, and the wind disc was both middle-level magic. They discussed the ineffectiveness of elementary magic against such monsters, and how fortunate it was that he had arrived in time. Back with the team, they suggested sounding an alarm to warn the city about the increasing frequency of monster appearances. It was unusual for a one-eyed monster from the mountains to appear in the city. Mr. Yang opposed the idea, fearing that sounding the alarm would cause unnecessary panic. Mr. Yang inquired about the addition of a new team member, expressing his admiration for Mo Fan's abilities. The captain mentioned recruitment, and they all chuckled at a joke, but Yuong remained serious, eyeing Fan Mo with suspicion. When Mo Fan arrived home, he checked to ensure he was unobserved before attempting to climb over his fence. Zhou Min called out to him as he was halfway through, startling him and causing him to fall. Zhou Min approached and embraced him, thanking him for saving her grandmother. She began to cry, and Mo Fan consoled her, patting her on the back. Mo Fan sat on his rooftop. He removed his amulet from his neck and examined it. He shook it gently, wondering what was happening. He considered to himself, saying the amulet looks like this since eating the one-eyed magic wolf spirit. Suddenly, it began to glow, and he hoped that he was advancing. He remembered teacher Tang Yui saying that you can advance by eating essence, but he didn't believe it could be true. He rhetorically asked the amulet if it was, in fact, a spiritual level magic weapon that could double the speed of his activation. He laughed out loud with excitement. He hoped that this would enable him to cultivate his magic to the 3rd level before his duel with Yuang. In the morning, Mo Fan took Xinxia out to see the sunrise. He gave her some money to purchase a mobile phone and anything else she desired. He instructed her to contact him immediately if she ever found herself in danger again. She asked him where he had obtained the money, and he replied that he earned it through a part-time job. He explained that magicians could make money more easily than ordinary people, not to mention that he was now a fire and lightning mage. He added that he had been extremely worried the last time there were monsters at her school and he was unable to reach her. So he tells her to keep the money and buy some nice dresses as well. Jingxia informed him that she had good news. She shared that she had awakened the healing system. They discussed white magic, black magic, and dimensional magic for a while. Then she confided that she knew he was involved in dangerous activities and hoped to be able to assist him in the future. He denied that it was dangerous at all. He just fights some monsters and catches some monsters. He admitted that he hadn't witnessed her healing magic yet, and she responded, saying hopefully she'd complete the 7 stars soon. Then he jokingly asked if she wanted him to get hurt for her to practice the healing element on him. She reacted angrily, and he assured her that he was only kidding. Mo Fan sat beneath a tree with his friend. His friend remarked on how quickly time was passing. Mo Fan responded that time seemed to accelerate when someone trained during the day and hunted demons at night. His friend was puzzled by his reference to hunting. Mo Fan swiftly changed the subject by inquiring about his friend's preferred magic university. His friend replied that he was undecided and preferred to take things one step at a time. His friend mentioned that it was almost time to schedule an appointment with Mu Joyong. He added that he had heard that this time around the old fox specially recruited the famous people in Bo City. He added that the duel was also held at Yuang's coming-of-age ceremony intentionally to cheat Mo fans. Mo Fan commented that it promised to be a significant duel. His friend stated that regardless of the outcome, he would remain the top student at Tianani High School. Teacher Tong Yue approached them, informing Mo Fan that the principal wished to see him. Mo Fan responded that he also had something to discuss with her regarding fire magic. He asked to come to her apartment tonight, and she affirmed. The principal discussed the duel with Yuang with Mo Fan. He asked him all he knew about the duel, and Mo Fan told him it was to celebrate the coming of age of Yuan. The headmaster informed him he was mistaken. He proceeded to explain the upcoming Holy Spring event, specifying that the victor of the duel would have the honor of representing Bo City. He further mentioned that one's cultivation level could be significantly enhanced, as the Holy Spring was a rare occurrence and diminished with time. Bo City observed a tradition where only its most promising young men participated annually. The headmaster rose from his seat, gazed out the window, and stated that he was the school's finest student, and within the family, Yuang had dominated those of a younger age. Consequently, the opportunity to attend the Holy Spring was essentially a contest between Mo Fan and Yuang. The headmaster admitted he doubted he would prevail but urged him to give it his best and, at the very least, display his capabilities to industry professionals. Preparations were underway by servants for the coming-of-age celebration, transforming the venue with decorations and exquisite furnishings. Abundant food and beverages were available for guests. Two servants chatted about the unfolding events at the ceremony. They had heard that Master Mu had invited Mo Jixing, formerly a logistics driver, to a seat of honor. The other responded, questioning if he was unaware that Mo Jixing's son, Mo Fan, was scheduled to duel Yuang. They confided that they were primarily there to support Yuang, whose strength surpassed his contemporaries. One mentioned Mo Fan's association with Miss Munningshui a few years prior, whispering a piece of information to his colleague. The recipient inferred that Mo Fan must possess some merit. They continued their gossip, with one remarking on Mo Jixing's perceived foolishness and his son's supposed virtue as they departed to attend to their duties. Inside the sitting room, Mr. Mu spoke with Ningxue. He noted that Yuang had cultivated his skills independently and expressed his hope that Yuang would become Ningxue's trusted ally. She questioned the necessity of arranging the duel before such a large audience, to which he responded by asking whether she feared for Yuang or for Mo Fan. He reminded her that Mo Fan was the school's top student, and Yuang was the family's strongest member aside from her, making the duel a matter of importance. He stood and approached the window, revealing that Mo Fan consistently irritated him and that he intended to show no leniency. He emphasized that what he could offer Yuang far exceeded Mo Jixing's potential contributions to Mo Fan. Ningxue rose and began to leave. When he inquired about her destination, she replied that she intended to take a stroll. Perched atop a cliff, Mo Fan sat, consuming a canned drink. From his vantage point, he overlooked the arena where he was scheduled to duel Yuang the next day. Ningxue approached him and took a seat beside him. She mentioned that Xinsha had directed her to his location. She inquired about his solitary presence on the cliff, and he explained that he had come to enjoy the breeze and admire the grandeur of his upcoming stage. He commented on her family's wealth and influence, reflected in the elaborate coming-of-age ceremony, with its esteemed guest list. She cautioned him against fighting in the duel, warning that Yuang would show no mercy. Mo Fan asked if she had come to rescue him this time, to which she responded that he was the one who had left. Mo Fan affirmed his intention to fight the next day, prompting Ningxue to question if he was. Disregarding her warnings, she reminded him that the Magic University assessment was less than a month away and that a fight with Yuang could leave him too injured to participate. Mo Fan observed that she cared for her father, despite his overbearing nature. He stated that he needed to participate in the duel to humble Yuang, thereby dispelling any perception of his father's foolishness. He recalled a past instance of maltreatment of his father by Ningxue's father. He declared that a significant opportunity had presented itself for him to demonstrate his father's worth, and he would not retreat. On the day of the duel, Mo Fan walked toward the ceremony grounds, passed by numerous cars on the road. The hunting team also arrived, and they exchanged greetings. Mo Fan approached them, addressing K Tang as his sister. She responded curtly, not recognizing him due to the mask and hat he wore during hunts. The team members believed that Mo Fan was Fan Mo, his hunting alias, but K Tang dismissed the idea. The instructor spotted Mo Fan eating, joking with him, and inviting him to hang out with the military after the duel, an offer he declined. His classmates also encountered him while he ate, questioning his presence. He responded by asking their reason for being there. They explained that the school had received a limited number of invitations, and they had come to support him. One classmate mentioned seeing Mo Fan's father on the invitation list, wondering if it was an error. Mo Fan replied that it was fortunate his father was present, as he wanted him to witness his victory, emphasizing how meaningful it would be for his father to watch him compete. Ning Xue's father delivered an opening speech, formally commencing the ceremony. Everyone raised their glasses in a toast to the city's future. He continued by noting that the evening's atmosphere was set for a duel and invited everyone to observe the character of both cities' young talents. A vehicle slowly approached, arriving at the coming-of-age ceremony venue. Mo Fan's father, Mo Jixing, exited the vehicle, walked in, and took a seat among the spectators. Ning Xue's father stood and thanked everyone for attending Yuang's 18th coming-of-age ceremony, promising that Yuang would demonstrate the culmination of his years of training. Some spectators observed that Mr. Mu had not mentioned Mo Fan's name in his speech, indicating that he did not take him seriously and that Mo Fan's role was merely to enhance Yuang's image. Yuang entered the fighting arena, where Mo Fan was already waiting. They bowed to each other and shook hands, maintaining their grip. Yuang's hand began to freeze, while Mo Fan's hand began to burn with fire. Yuang thanked Mo Fan for serving as his practice dummy, promising to keep him hospitalized for approximately 3 months. They released each other's hands and moved to opposite sides of the arena. Mr. Mu signaled for the duel to begin. Yuang unleashed a second-level ice attack on Mo Fan, who countered with the first-level fire attack. As Mo Fan launched more attacks, he realized that Yuang's speed had increased significantly. K Tang noticed that Yuang was wearing magic shoes that enhanced his ground speed. Yuang taunted Mo Fan, claiming that his second-level fire magic was ineffective against him. He stated that he did not want to waste time in the arena and that there were people whom Mo Fan should never provoke. Yuang then executed a third-level ice magic, shocking the spectators who were amazed at Yuang's progress. Mo Fan began to feel the pressure of the ice tendrils. Yuang declared that his small flame could not withstand the power of his ice tendrils. The fire surrounding Mo Fan dissipated, and he fell to the ground. Ning Xue's father was urged to stop the duel, as Mo Fan was freezing, but he responded, questioning how a fire magician could freeze to death, and stating that the point was not to focus on winning or losing. Many spectators whispered about Yuang's remarkable achievement in reaching the third level at 18, a feat that many adult mages could not accomplish. Mo Fan attempted to create fire stardust within the ice, but to no avail. He realized that his body would soon be completely frozen, so he needed to complete the 7 stars. Once completed, the stars protected him from the ice, stunning the audience. Mo Fan warned Yuang not to assume he was the only one who had reached the third level. He launched the fire at Yuang, who attempted to evade it with his magic shoes, but the fire caught up with him, causing a significant explosion. Yuang admitted that he had not expected Mo Fan to have cultivated to the third level as well, but insisted that he still could not defeat him. He removed his cloak, revealing his shining magic armor. Spectators began to complain about the magic shoes and armor, suggesting that Mo Fan should counterattack Yuang. The instructor shouted at Mo Fan to concede, stating that he was no match for the magic armor and that he had already demonstrated his strength with his counter-attack. Yuang insisted that he could not win and should accept defeat, continuing to insult his father until Mo Fan became enraged. Mo Fan then unleashed his thunder element, shocking the spectators. The hunter team finally realized that Mo Fan, whom they knew as Fan Mo, was indeed their thunder team member. Mo Fan informed Yuang that he should not be deceived, as his lightning was also at the third level, his true strength. He generated a thunderbolt and directed it toward Yuang. Yuang attempted to flee, but the thunderbolts struck him. He collapsed under the force of the lightning, and his magic armor shattered. He lay on the ground as the crowds cheered Mofan's victory. Mofan stood at a distance, fire coursing through his left fist and lightning coursing through his right. Individuals at the Holy Court were astounded to learn that Mofan had used the double talent strike at Mo Mansion. Mofan was summoned by the Holy Court, but, upon arrival, he declared that they owed him an apology, infuriating them. Joyan approached Mofan's father, knelt, and offered an apology regardless. Joyan announced to the audience's applause that Mofan was the victor and now had the right to train at the sacred spring. The students gathered at a diner to celebrate Mofan's win. They voiced their desire to possess the talents like Mofan, and their teacher, Mr. Zhu, added that he had a promising future with numerous opportunities, as many factions would want him on their team. He told the students that even with a single talent, they should strive to improve their abilities and gain admission to Magic College to refine their skills. One student asked Fan if he would attend the sacred spring, and he confirmed his intention to do so. A group of underlings convened in secrecy, demanding to know why the mole tasked with eliminating Mofan had failed. He explained that he had not expected Mofan to possess the talents and promised to rectify his mistake, but the master refused to grant him a second chance, punishing him for his failure. Feiyu accompanied Jiahu, intending to teach her how to release magic. He tried to dispel the doubts that hindered her magic use. They paused when they saw Fan and Xinsha exiting a shop. Jiahu was upset by the sight and presumed they were on a date. Feiyu asked if that meant they were also on a date. Annoyed by the question, she abandoned the shopping plan, declaring that they would train instead. Meanwhile, Fan asked Xinsha if she liked the bracelets she had acquired during their shopping trip. He was surprised that she had chosen a bracelet that looked unconventional. She explained that it was special to her because they had selected it together as her birthday present, and she loved it. As they spoke, Jiahu joined them, asking why Fan had not yet left for the sacred spring. He explained that he had needed to get his sister, Xinsha, a birthday gift before departing. At this point, she urged him to leave and wished him well in his training. Fan arrived at the sacred spring, greeted by Joyan, who commented on his lateness. He was directed to his training area and provided with his star chart card to release his magic at the designated time. On his way, he encountered Mu Ninghui, who welcomed him and mentioned that security at the sacred spring was stringent due to her sister's disappearance some time ago. He also speculated that the case was connected to the sacred spring, citing evidence of Cyclops near the area. He advised Fan not to dwell on the details but to concentrate on his training and aim to become the second youngest Nebula Mage after Mu Ninghui. At the lab, the deputy captain met with the scientists to review their latest findings. They confirmed, as she had anticipated, that a certain test liquid shared similarities with the water in the sacred spring but produced an opposing effect. While the water from the sacred spring enhanced abilities, the test liquid induced rage and bloodlust. She observed that Cyclops typically avoided humans and that the liquid's consumption might explain their recent attacks on the town. Fan checked into the sacred spring and was about to meditate when the energy in his pendant surged and began to spin. He was puzzled and tried to calm the pendant, promising to find a matching pendant for it. But after a short time, it calmed, and he resumed his meditation. Mo Jixing arrived at a delivery destination where his goods were nearly ruined, but he arrived just in time. Upon arrival, he was greeted by two soldiers who informed him that his son had made a scene at Mu Mansion and that all the factions were attempting to recruit him, including their boss, Jun Kong. They questioned why he was still working as a delivery man, and he explained that his job was challenging and important. He stated that his and his son's jobs were similar, as they both did what needed to be done. The soldiers went to the rooftop and observed the rain. From there, noticing its unusual, urine-like color, while joking about it, their boss walked in and asked if they had noticed anything strange. They replied that they had not, so he ordered them to be vigilant on the mountainside. Emerging from the woods, multiple crimson eyes materialized, preceding the tusks and talons of Cyclops. Simultaneously, Mu Ningxiu and a female soldier exited the facility, promising to stay in communication. Ningxiu instructed the soldier to carefully observe Fan, suggesting that his weak within the sacred spring might be pushing him too far. Assuring her compliance, the soldier watched Ningxu depart. He commented on the unusually unsettling sensation of the rainfall. Reaching the sacred spring base, the commander greeted the soldiers, inquiring about the return of Patrol 4, only to be informed that they were still missing. The members of Patrol 4 proceeded cautiously through the forest, vigilant for any anomalies. The head light mage reminded the apprentice light mage that their duty was to immediately send up a light signal in any emergency. He was still in the midst of this explanation when the light mage was abruptly seized. Upon investigating the attacker, they discovered a Cyclops. With his remaining strength, the targeted light mage managed to launch a light flare, signaling the base. The lead light mage mirrored this action before also falling victim to an assault. The surviving members of Patrol 4 sought refuge in a cavern, placing a call to the base to report the incident. As they spoke, the cave was struck by the Cyclops, shattering its entrance and attacking all the remaining members of the patrol team. Following considerable deliberation, the base soldiers decided to issue Code Blood, alerting the townspeople to seek shelter in their homes to avoid being consumed by the Cyclops. Within the spring, Fen attempted to invoke his star chart magic, but found himself unsuccessful. He started to wonder about the length of his stay in the spring, whether it was day or night, and if his sister was doing okay. Meanwhile, the populace of Bo City responded to the alert, rushing into their residences. Shortly after, the Cyclops initiated a destructive rampage throughout the city. Gatsby attempted to fight them off, and recognized one of the creatures as a Taurolicus. The mages stationed at the Sacred Spring base, while battling Cyclops at their own location, received an urgent call reporting that a horde of Cyclops was attacking the townspeople. The commander commanded them to evacuate the base and prioritize protecting the citizens in the city above all else, including the Sacred Spring. Mo Fan's father had finished his delivery and was driving back towards the city. He became aware of the strange rain. Unbeknownst to him, a cuckoo bird was perched behind his moving vehicle. Still immersed in the Sacred Spring, Mo Fan was reflecting on the lessons he had been taught to unlock his star chart magic. He recalled the advice Miss had provided during training and began to imagine she might be romantically interested in him. Mr. Joyan and his daughter, Ningxu, attempted to escape the base at the Sacred Spring but discovered they were encircled. She employed her abilities to strike down the Cyclops around them, but the one above them attacked, leaving her father wounded. She then employed her abilities to conjure a bird, transporting herself and her injured father away from the area. The Black Curia convened once again, discussing their decision to adopt a forceful approach due to the failure of the individual assigned to stop Mo Fan. They commented that they could have remained concealed and that their emergence would alert the Holy Court to their existence. They planned to assault the Sacred Spring base, using the city as a distraction to draw the soldiers away, leaving the facility vulnerable to attack. Still within the Sacred Spring, Mo Fan was exerting his utmost effort to connect the 7 orbits and activate his star chart magic. As he did so, the building began to tremble. He went to investigate the disturbance and encountered a Cyclops. The Cyclops devoured the guard positioned in front of him and attempted to attack him as well when the deputy captain charged in and engaged the Cyclops. She employed an emergency procedure to empty the spring into a bottle, allowing her and Fan to flee to dry land. She informed Mo Fan that safeguarding the Sacred Spring was paramount, and then elaborated on how the Black Curia had created the Spring of Rage and infused it into the rainfall to incite the Cyclops into a bloodthirsty frenzy. He inquired about the situation in the city, and she admitted she had no knowledge of it. The emergency escape route led them to a hill just behind his former magic school, where he was dismayed to see the school overrun with Cyclops and devoid of any sign of humans. A student was spotted fleeing from Cyclops, while another group, a gang from school, was hiding in a corner. Their leader spoke to the rest, recalling the existence of a nearby shelter owned by his uncle. He argued that waiting there was futile, as they would either be devoured by the Cyclops or starve if they remained too long. He suggested they run to the shelter and stay there until the situation improved. While they attempted to reach safety, a horde of Cyclops attacked them one after the other, eventually consuming them all. Xinxia, Mo Fan's sister, navigated her wheelchair amidst other students, also trying to escape the menacing Cyclops. She was nearing the safety barrier when a Cyclops closed in behind her. She grew anxious, but Feiyu intervened just in time to strike the Cyclops, saving her and getting her inside the school's iron barrier. Back at the emergency exit, Mo Fan decided to venture into the city to check on his family. The deputy chairman was displeased by this decision, expecting him to demonstrate more selflessness as a mage, but he was resolute in his determination to save his family. He departed and headed towards the city. However, before he left, the deputy captain asked him a crucial favor, to protect the small bottle containing the sacred spring at all costs. She explained that it was safer in his possession than hers, as it would be undetectable in his hands. She further stated that the military lacked the strength to fully contain the Cyclops, and that safeguarding the sacred spring would be a major contribution to the fight, preventing the Black Curia from obtaining it and unleashing disaster upon the world. He responded that he did not care about the sacred spring and that his family was his priority. She countered by asking if he was the only one with a family and that every mage in the city was fighting to ensure the safety of the citizens, despite having families of their own. She implored him to consider the city as well, and he relented. He ended up giving her a photograph of his family, asking her to look after them if she saw them. With that, he bid her farewell and set off towards the city. Mo Fan's father narrowly evaded a Cyclops and, after driving further, encountered a man whose car had broken down and who was stranded on the roadside. He offered the man a ride in his car and told him he was going downtown to rescue his son. The man countered that everyone alive would be at the safety barrier and that no one was heading downtown at that time, but Mo Fan's father remained resolute because he believed his son was downtown. So he told the man to get out of the car if he was unwilling to go, as he would proceed downtown anyway to save his son. Back at the base, the commander noted that the rain had ceased. However, he received reports about the escalating situation in town, with rising casualties and an insufficient number of soldiers to combat the monsters. Disturbed by this news, he decided to join the soldiers in the city, but Yang Ju insisted on going in his stead. After some hesitation, the commander allowed him to go, urging him to return unharmed. Back at school, the students attempted to use their magical abilities to fend off the Cyclops. Two girls encountered a Cyclops and tried to use their shape-shifting magic to escape, but they ended up being devoured. Feiyu came across a group of girls fleeing from a Cyclops and intervened using freezing magic. He instructed them to hide if they could and to avoid fighting any Cyclops if possible, before telling them to head to the stadium, where it would be safer. Just as Feiyu and Zhao Yong were about to be overwhelmed by the Cyclops, Mo Fan intervened, saving them just in time. Overjoyed to see him, they began to ask him questions about the sacred spring, momentarily forgetting the perilous situation they were in. Mo Fan told them to refrain from asking questions due to the urgency of the situation and directed them towards the stadium, where other students would be gathering. At the stadium, the students recounted their encounters with the Cyclops. Meanwhile, the teachers convened in a corner to discuss how to relocate to a safer location. One of the teachers suggested that the students were too numerous and that they should abandon them and flee to the fortress, arguing that the number of students would attract the Cyclops and lead to even more casualties. Some of the compassionate teachers opposed the idea and reprimanded her for proposing such a selfish plan, while others sided with her. The rest argued that fleeing in such a manner would be cowardly. Another teacher proposed a plan to send a team of scouts to lead the way and secure the path ahead for others to follow. The others acknowledged that the plan was risky, but also recognized its potential merit. They questioned how they would find volunteers willing to commit to such a dangerous task. He replied that he had a group of outstanding students in his class who were capable of carrying out the task effectively, and that he would ask them and select the best among them to volunteer. The teacher addressed his class and requested volunteers to lead the way and clear a path for the remaining students to pass through. He emphasized that they were not obligated to agree and that if they preferred not to be in the lead, they could join the group, which they termed the Exodus. The students contemplated the plan and began to volunteer one after another to be part of the lead team. Zunseng was reluctant to join the pioneer team, believing that others should clear the path of Cyclops before he would walk on it safely, but his friend Mubai had already resolved to join. He attempted to persuade Mubai to change his mind, but he remained steadfast. Realizing that his friend would not be swayed and that he could not bear to go without him, he decided to join the pioneer team as well. Before entering the stadium, Feiyu and Mo Fan listened from the doorway, overhearing the teacher's explanation of each team and the need for volunteers. Feiyu then asked Mo Fan whether he would join the lead or the Exodus, and Fan replied that joining the Exodus was perilous. He argued that while the Exodus had the advantage of numbers and following a cleared path, they were more susceptible to being spotted by the Cyclops due to their size, and that when the Cyclops attacked, the students would be unable to defend themselves, not only because of their lack of skill, but also due to their fear and cowardice. Recognizing the soundness of this reasoning, Feiyu decided that being in the lead was the better option. He then entered the room and declared that he and Mo Fan would join the pioneer group. At that moment, everyone turned to look at them, their faces displaying surprise. They told Mo Fan that they were both surprised and happy to see him alive and at the school instead of the sacred spring, but Fei Yu mistakenly believed they were referring to him and began to boast, only to be corrected and informed that they were referring to Mo Fan instead. The deputy captain, Lin, was seen running from a cyclops that appeared to be gaining on her. She tried her best to use her magic against it, but she had very little stamina left, rendering her unable to strike effectively. As she struggled, Yan, who had been dispatched by the commander to assist in the city, happened to be nearby and helped her defeat the Cyclops. They briefly discussed the Cyclops, both agreeing that the outbreak had been orchestrated by the Black Curia and that they needed to be stopped at all costs to end the attack. He then inquired about the sacred spring and whether she had remembered to remove it from the mountain base to prevent the Black Curia from obtaining it, as they had the means and the intention to use its power for nefarious purposes. She assured him that she had extracted the spring and had entrusted it to Mo Fan, reasoning that the Black Curia would be less likely to suspect that the spring was in the possession of a student rather than a soldier. She also informed him that Fan was headed to the city and, although she did not know his exact location, she knew that he intended to go to the School of Magic to meet his sister. Yang concurred with her decision to entrust the sacred spring to him and suggested that they search for Fan to provide him with support and ensure that the sacred spring reached the proper hands without being tampered with. He then proposed that they split up their search to reach him more quickly before the Black Curia. At the school, the students divided themselves into teams. The pioneer team, led by their teacher, Mr. Zhou, braced themselves and prepared to set off and clear the path for the rest. They began their mission, moving with utmost caution, keenly aware of the lurking danger. Upon reaching a newsstand, they noticed a Cyclops, but the Cyclops vanished almost immediately. They spread out to search for it, but their efforts proved futile. They then dispatched Zhang Yilong to use her wind powers to survey the area and detect any lurking monsters. While she was carrying out her task alone, she was struck unexpectedly from behind. Before she succumbed to her wounds, she let out a scream and then passed away. They were all dismayed and disheartened by Yilong's death, but Mo Fan addressed them, urging them to remain strong and continue their duties. The teacher questioned how Mo Fan always managed to remain calm throughout every attack.